Hey everyone, I'm Matt with Ozark Overland Adventures, and in this video we're going to talk about uh, why I think my Gladiator is just completely dialed in for overlanding and off-roading. Um, but the purpose of this video is not to is not to brag on how great of a Jeep I have, or pitch a bunch of products to you. That is not the intent of this video. This is to talk about concepts and um, and how to achieve this. And what prompted me to make this video is I just got off the Rubicon Trail a few weeks ago. And in that whole trip, the Rubicon is rough. It is rough. It is rugged. We spent 3 days on it. And so any rig that you can spend 3 days in, especially an overland rig, any rig that you can spend 3 days in on the Rubicon, camping out of it for 2 of those nights, very comfortably, very quick setup, all that sort of stuff. I think we need to discuss that. And so I was super happy with I've been happy with my setup for a long time, but just after running the Rubicon, I was just blown away by how awesome this is. I am now in Arkansas, and it is stupid hot, so I'm gonna be really sweaty. And by the end of this video, this will probably all be wet. So just giving you a heads up. But let me walk you through the why. Like I said, I'm not gonna pitch a bunch of products to you because there's a lot of products that do the same thing. This isn't specifically about Jeeps either. This applies to whatever, Land Cruisers, Toyotas, Nissans, Subarus, whatever. So let's get into it. All right, let's start with just how the Jeep itself is built. And one of the key things that makes this such an incredible off-road and overland rig is it is built very well. And I think it is built properly. And what I mean by that is I have not cheaped out on the suspension. I don't have the highest dollar suspension you can buy. I have a really, really good quality suspension. And what makes it a good quality suspension is it has everything necessary to adjust the geometry, dial everything in so that it rides really smooth both on and off-road. This thing rides and performs off-road amazingly because of the suspension, because of the steering components, because of the shocks. And one of the recent things that I did, and I've been talking about this in a bunch of videos, is recently switched to the Clayton long arms. Lots of companies make long arms, but I switched to the Clayton long arms for my front. Rears are coming, but right now I've just got the front. And this has radically changed how comfortable this thing is to drive, how smooth it is, how well it absorbs bumps. It's just really good. Quality rock sliders and armor and bumpers. I can hit rocks. I can land on rocks. I can smash into trees. I can do all that stuff and know that nothing's going to bend, nothing's going to break. It's just going to perform really, really well. Wheels and tires. My rack's not rattling around everywhere. My roof rack's doing what it needs to do. My lights are doing what they need to do. I mean, everything just performs really, really well on this Jeep. And there are a few components that I tell everybody don't cheap out on, and that is your suspension and your armor. Don't go cheap on those, because you want good quality suspension. I mean, your suspension is the number one thing that determines ride quality and handling, both on and off-road. And I see a lot of people comment or make posts saying, what's a good suspension? I don't want to, I don't want to break the bank. I'm never going off-road. So on-road is the most important place, because I mean, in our travels, we have to travel thousands of miles to get a lot of times to the areas that we're going to. And so a quality suspension for on-road is more important than off-road performance. So there you go. So don't cheap out on your suspension. And that is one of the reasons why this Jeep just performs so amazingly on our travels, is because it's just built well with quality components. Not the most expensive components. You can find more expensive wheels. You can find more expensive bumpers, more expensive tires, more expensive shocks, more expensive everything. But just make sure you're buying quality stuff for these areas that are important. Number two is it's very well organized. Everything has a place. I know where everything is. If we get to camp and I need something, everything has its place. From outside here with the drawer system back here, you don't have to have drawers. Kara in her Gladiator, she didn't have drawers. She's got two totes, one divided into kitchen stuff, one divided into camping and gear stuff. And so, but it's organized. And so for me, I mean, having the drawer with all of most of my camp stuff, my chairs, extra blankets, fire pit, little table, cutting board stuff, you know, extra things like tape and, you know, kitchenware, my headlamp and stuff is back here. My battery booster, all that stuff just lives here. And so it is very well organized. The way this section is with, you know, the fridge is on a slide. Behind it is just a little tote for miscellaneous things like fluids and my solar panel cable, my propane tank being mounted up there. It's just well organized. My kitchen tote is right here. So I don't have to pull a bunch of stuff out to access my kitchen tote. And I can even get to my kitchen tote without pulling it out. If I want to, I can pull it out, but I can get to my kitchen stuff just right here. Boom. It's very well organized. And when you're on, you know, say a week-long, 2-week-long trip, the ability to be organized just keeps you from getting frustrated every time you pull into camp. Anytime something happens and you need to access something, having everything organized is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Even in here, you know, we've got a seat delete, and seat deletes may not work for you, but if you don't need to carry people in your back seat, I highly recommend a seat delete. This is a 40% that I made, and then the 60% is SHW. But, you know, my camera stuff goes here, my towels tuck up under here, all my batteries charge here. While that doesn't look organized, nothing's piled on top of the other. So that's awesome. This little shelf back here, you know, keep paper towels, extra hats, some freeze-dried meals, you know, my tackle box and stuff like that. Molly panels, where my first aid stuff lives. Other things live in there too. But quick access to things like Band-Aids and medicines and, you know, that sort of thing. In here in the front, everything is organized. The dash bar for my phone, my cameras, a little place for knives and flashlights and stuff like that on that Molly panel. Everything in here is just dialed and organized and makes my life really easy. And then number 3, and the final thing that just makes this thing so dialed and so perfect is, and this kind of piggybacks off the being organized, everything is super fast to set up, super fast to access. You know, I roll into camp, we'll go on trips where we're camping, you know, 5, 6, 7 nights in a row. And I roll into camp and it takes me, you know, less than 90 seconds to have my tent fully set up. It takes me 60 seconds to get my awning fully deployed. It takes me, you know, just a minute or two to get my kitchen stuff out and hooked up and ready to be cooking dinner. I don't have to spend 30 minutes to an hour every time we pull into camp to set up. It's just there ready to go. I don't have to spend an hour in the morning before breaking camp packing away all the stuff in the tent. But it's a rooftop tent or a ground tent. I don't have to spend an hour packing everything away. It takes me, I mean, gosh, if I had my tent, my awning, and my kitchen stuff all left out, assuming I'd cleaned it the night before, it would take me 10 minutes max to have everything put away, everything closed up, and ready to roll. So, you know, that's where a rooftop tent is super handy, especially wedge style tents like this. If you don't need a, you know, if you don't need to sleep a family of 4 or 5 in a rooftop tent, the hard shell wedges take no time at all to set up. The fold outs take a little bit longer. Soft shells take the longest and are our biggest pain in the butt. You know, people with totes and totes and totes and stacked on top of each other, and you got to pull one out to get to the, you know, the 2 underneath it, and then they put it all back and, you know, play the Tetris game. Everything in here is just super fast to set up and, you know, organized, quality components. That is what makes this such a dialed and awesome overland and really capable off-road rig. So I've survived the Rubicon. I have survived Moab. I have survived 6 weeks away from home, living out of this thing in the past, and this thing has never let me down. I've never had anything break. I've never had, you know, any problems putting stuff away, rolling out from camp, setting up camp, all the things that, as you do them over and over and over again, it kind of wears on you, and it just kind of takes the joy out of doing this. So there you go. Like I said, didn't want to pitch a whole bunch of stuff to you, because this isn't brand specific to the Jeep. It isn't brand specific to my suspension or anything like that. It's just good quality stuff, organized well, very fast to set up and take down. Those are the keys. So I hope this was helpful. Short video, short and sweet, going through the details. But if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. If you would, give us the YouTube love, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And, you know, if you like what we're doing, you want to consider supporting the channel, check out the Patreon link in the description or here on the screen. And for all of our merchandise, not the sweaty versions, go to shopoverlandapparel.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.